Hey guys, it's me and Steven. We're back on Thursdays. So last week, Steven and I were talking, and we had a really interesting conversation about insecurities, being that I still have some insecurities, but Steven says that he doesn't. And Steven, I wanted to ask you, how do you go about things that you're uncomfortable with, and why aren't they so-called insecurities to you?
Fair enough. Now, I know it's interesting to say that I don't have any insecurities, but what I mean by that is that there isn't anything about myself that I truly dislike, that I'm really anxious about or worried about. And the reason for this is the fact that I was reduced to nothing at some point in my life, right? And I built myself back up. And at this moment in time, I'm proud to say I built myself back up exactly the way that I want to be, to my ideal. And so where I am right now, living my dream, it's like everything about me, I love. All of my quirks, all of my weaknesses, and all of my flaws, I love them all. I wouldn't take them away. I don't want to change them. And so when I say I don't have any insecurities, I mean, I have no problem being me and in that entirety of me, all the time, everywhere I go, on stage, off stage, it doesn't matter.
So that's awesome, but did you ever have any insecurities?
Oh, of course.
Being that you had insecurities and you went through a lot in your life, so I'm assuming you had many insecurities, how did you go about destructing them and then rebuilding them?
So
how do you exactly ruin or kill an insecurity?
Understand what you're saying. When I was younger, I was actually insecure about every single aspect of myself. It was polar opposite, and I think that you can relate.
Yeah.
Everything was going wrong. Everything in my life, I did nothing good. I had nothing good. And so it took being completely broken. And now this wasn't my choice. It was an external force acting on me. It was my environment and everything in my life that reduced me to absolutely nothing. And the way that I deconstructed, or so you say, killed the insecurities, is actually just step by step building myself up the way I want. So if I didn't like this part of myself and I wanted to be like that, I got it. End of story.
Cool.
I just worked for it. And I dissected everything that I wanted to be, and I just shot for it.
Yeah,
now,
so I think that that's an interesting point, because I know for myself, at least, when I was killing, and I still am killing some of my insecurities, what I do is I completely don't even look at them, and I pretend as if I'm a whole new identity, and I research about what is the best characteristic trait in this aspect, and then I just acquire them without focusing on the insecurity, and it naturally starts to kill the insecurity. So is that something you can relate to?
Absolutely. When you say you research it, it's interesting. My research was my favorite characters. You know,
okay.
I'm a total geek and nerd, and so my favorite characters in the anime that I was watching, specifically anime versus just Marvel or superhero, I looked up to them, and they were my research. I said, that would be so cool if I took that trait. I wanted to be like that, and so I became that.
So it's definitely why you have such a passion for all of these anime, and it seems that that's really what shaped who you are today. So
yes.
What I like to explain is that by my research, which either way is absolutely correct, everybody has their own way of defining their character, but what I did was I actually spoke to a lot of different types of people. Like I would go up on the street and just be like, well, how do you do this or how do you do that, and I'd read books and I would listen to videos about characteristic traits, and I obviously had many therapists and psychologists in my life. Not to say that that's the only route to do so, but it's interesting that you took the route where you said, okay, this person isn't real, but sometimes things that aren't real seem a lot better. So, and you were able to acquire that into your life and become that person, which is so cool. And it seems that not only did you become the character, but you even have some costumes, and I see that you're actually that person. So that is really inspiring. So anybody listening, that'd be really cool if you would like to take that try and realize that, you don't have to speak to people. Even when you're isolated, you can still work on yourself.
Absolutely. And I think the important thing to take away from this is that everyone has an ideal. And I think that many people are still building what their ideal is. As you find out more about yourself, you find out more about who you want to be. And so as you build that ideal, you can use resources from meeting people in your life. But I would say that most of the time it comes from your role models.
Oh,
it comes
absolutely.
from people that you look up to in some way, shape, or form, whether they're real people on this earth or whether they're in anime or in a show or in a fantasy world, you pick and choose who your role models are, and then you take that information. And so the way to kill insecurity, the way to overcome all of that, is to become your idol. Something that I feel is important to note, when I was working on myself, I didn't say, ooh, that'd be so cool if I had that, and like I just shot for that. The first thing I did was, I hate this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to change it.
Yeah, something I definitely like to point out is that the beginning of change starts out as something so negative. Like, it doesn't just jump into positivity and boom, I'm just going to change and puff into this wonderful person. It's, you have to feel the pain, but I'd like to also separate the idea of pain and suffer. Don't suffer, just feel the pain. Suffering is it will hold you back. It's heavy. It's very heavy, but pain is more light, and you can grow and allow it to feed your growth. So feel the pain. If any of you guys are going through pain, it's okay, it's normal, but now allow that to say, I want to change, and I'm going to change because I have the power to do so.
Absolutely. And that would be the way to conquer your insecurities.